All right, is it lighting up when I'm talking?
Yes.
And then when you're talking, it's also lighting up?
Yes.
Okay, so look at your camera, and you're going to clap loud. Just once. Don't once. One. No, do it again. You have to do it once. There you go. Okay. That's all you have to do. Okay. So, I don't know how to start podcast. I don't have an intro. So it's like, hi, welcome. Okay, no, don't drum roll. I mean, you can, I guess. But welcome to Twist Tapes podcast featuring my dad and me without a beer. Want to say hi, Dad?
Yeah, get a beer.
I've got a beer. It's just not open.
Hello.
We are currently in Florida, and I'm going to say Bradenton, in his office, as you can tell, all the stuff that's around us. So I'm not the only person that has a cluttered office. As much as people want to make fun of me for having a whole bunch of stuff in my background in my office at home, his is not as bad, but it's getting there once he gets all his stuff hung up. As you can tell, he was in the Navy, or
Asshole.
the Army, the Navy's Army, as we call them, a.k.a. Crayon Eaters, a.k.a. the Marine Corps.
AKA the Men's Department of the Navy, which is the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. The men's department that was owned by the women's department is what I hear. Because if the rest of the Navy was the women's department, that means it. The women's department.
Blah, 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 blah.
Let's. Yeah. So you want to talk about what we did this week, Mr. Patient Zero?
Yeah, we did COVID.
Well, you did COVID.
Lots of COVID.
Yeah, you had.
Projectile COVID.
Yeah. He. So I flew in Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, I flew in Sunday. And my grandfather was supposed to fly in, 2 days later, right? So I was like, hey, you should probably go get a COVID test. And he's like, oh, well, I'm fine. Stop breathing into your microphone. And so he's like, okay, fine. You know, we pressured him to go get the COVID test. And then he tested positive for it. So now our vacation was just spent here doing nothing pretty much. So
We watched TV.
yeah, we watched TV.
We slept.
And Christmas was ruined pretty
We
much.
didn't have Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I still feel like you should use the other microphone. I think the other one sounds better than that one does, just because of the context. We can swap it over. It's okay. We can edit podcasts. You can cut them.
Much better.
Well, you should be able to hear yourself.
I can hear myself now.
Yeah. Can you hear coming out of left and right? You all good? Point it at your mouth. Point. Yeah. There you go.
That's better.
Yeah. And then, as Joe Rogan would say, keep that fucker a fist away. That's which I usually go.
I'm not putting a fist in front of my mouth.
Well, I touch my lips to it, but yeah. That's like the podcast rule of thumb. I'm gonna turn you up a little bit more.
Don't say that too loud, okay?
What?
Just putting your lips on it.
Well, anyways, so with someone that's had experience putting their lips on it, what are your thoughts on the Marine Corps?
Is this one of those questions from your Twitter account?
No, it's not. No, those are gonna come later.
My thoughts regarding the Marine Corps is it's an elite fighting force, and I'm proud to have served.
Okay, so a commercial. All right. No, but like, what are your favorite? Like, what are some of your favorite memories from it?
My favorite memories are going through Paris Island, succeeding at Paris Island.
Okay.
Going through
Jesus
engineer
Christ.
school.
This is why you never see Marines on good podcasts. They're just like, hey, so I'm. Oh my gosh, I do want to talk about. Well, fine, we get it. You're a Marine. Okay. Former Marine, as you guys say. I do want to talk about the script that we had to write this week and all that. But your wonderful story. If you want to go and elaborate on your story between you and your fiance Angela, who is currently sick with the COVID, from my dad. So, if you want to go into that and give some context on that, you've got the stage.
Well, let's see here. Almost 6 years ago, I met a beautiful young lady online on Plenty of Fish. And
Is that another Marine Corps joke? Sorry, continue.
And she had 3 boys, and I had you 3 boys, and
yeah, many people actually don't know that I have 2 brothers. They usually don't even know I have any brothers. I have a younger brother named Logan, who's 17 now. 16? 16 now.
He thinks he's 20.
And I've got it's funny because it's kind of like they're flipped.
Yeah, they are in a lot of ways. Yeah.
My older brother has many mental issues. He's currently in jail, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Jacob. I don't even know how old he is. 20-something, almost 30 probably now.
30 something plus, yes.
So you don't know as well. Okay.
He's 31 years old.
Okay, so he's my age, flip -1. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm 23. I've always been the middle child, but I've always felt like the big brother for the most part because my older brother we thought he had autism, but it turns out it was like way worse than that. And that was kind of growing up for me. I was taking care of my older brother, teaching him how to read and do math and stuff like that. And my little brother is Logan. So there's your clarification of who the two people are in there. If you want to continue with your thing.
Well, between the three boys and Angela, who had 3 boys as well, 2 twins that are now going to be 21 years old, coming up here in next month or two. We had met online, and at the time when I met Angela, I didn't know she was dying. She needed a heart transplant, and I didn't find out until she told me we were on our first date, and she was running around with a battery pack and.
Yeah, she had like a little purse.
Yeah, she had this bag with batteries.
Maybe if you can send me a picture later of it, and I can put it in for context.
Yeah, she didn't have a heartbeat. She sounded like an electric toothbrush. I mean, she was like, whatever. But anyway, it
was just attached to her heart, right?
Yeah, it had a power cord coming in, and every day she'd have to take these bandages because that power cord was floated and powered this pump. In her heart and so forth. And
I remember in the middle of the night, her little alarm would go off when she had to replace her batteries. Or when we were at like restaurants and stuff, she had to replace the batteries.
Yeah.
And you had to be real quick about it too.
It was
yeah,
that's something I hadn't even thought about. I mean, we'd be sitting there having a meal or whatever, so them stop beeping because time to change your batteries.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, that shit would happen like in the middle of all kinds of stuff besides dinner. But anyway,
yikes.
But she's a beautiful person. She liked to sing. She did does a lot of karaoke, and I don't do any of those things.
Well, you do now. Now you do that one song. What do you guys do? It's the "Stop Dragging My Heart Around" by Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, I suck at it, but that's okay.
It's okay. So does every other guy that goes up with their girlfriend that can sing.
You do things for love.
It's true.
Yeah.
Grace won't sing with me, so that makes you feel any better.
But I have her on video singing.
Grace? Yeah, she was also hammered, and it was
okay.
like 2:30 in the morning in your backyard.
Hammered, singing, hammered, doesn't matter.
True.
Yeah, I have lots of video of you guys singing. We've had a great time doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the point is that I entered into that relationship, and it wasn't something I was necessarily looking for, and it certainly was not my lifestyle at the time. I'm more fast and getting stuff done and going a million miles an hour, and she was slowing down and waiting for a heart transplant. So,
I think it was the right time.
So
though.
this week, it was certainly the right time. I had just got done. I hadn't been in a relationship for about 6 months or 8 months, 10 months, whatever.
Do you want to talk about the?
No. Stop.
Okay. All right.
And I don't want to talk about my ex-wife that we don't like very much.
That's what I was gonna
You're
say.
gonna go there. We're just gonna avoid all that because
why?
Because that's just a chapter that we already read.
Yeah,
we're not gonna read it again.
But I mean, okay, all right.
Okay, yep. We're moving.
Anyways, my dad was in love with a bitch at one point, and 9 years of both of our lives were wasted, and we ended up being homeless for a while. I want to talk about that part. We want to talk about the actual relationship of her just being a cunt, but we can talk about the results of that relationship.
She wouldn't give you clothes. She wouldn't give you a bicycle and so forth. And she tried to take all the money and bankrupt me.
Yeah, we ended up living with family friends for like what, a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, we did.
I remember how long it was.
We had some great friends that helped us get back on our feet.
It's funny. We had friends.
$7 in the bank or whatever.
Ray and Stacy. Ray is colorblind, like fully colorblind, and Stacy is deaf. So yeah, she's his eyes and he's her ears. So yeah, they're awesome. We stayed with them for a while. I haven't talked to them in a while. I don't know if you have, but
I talked to Stacy last week.
But they're great people. So
I say talk to.
Yeah, you type to her. Well, she's got her little hearing implants things, which I'm sure are better now. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, we communicate through Messenger.
She can also read lips pretty well, so but you can't do that over the phone.
Not unless you got really good vision.
Or you're FaceTiming.
And you can, FaceTime.
FaceTime, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you should FaceTime Stacy, and then you should mute your mic while you talk to her and see what she does. See if she can understand.
I don't know, but one thing's for sure is we love Ray and Stacy. They're two amazing people, and their daughters have been a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's moving forward. So Angela was she was on a heart transplant list,
mm-hmm.
and it was a lot of people in our lives, and your life and my life, were questioning the fact that I was getting into a relationship with a woman who was actually dying, and I didn't know why, but I was supposed to.
Mhm.
And now, almost 6 years later,
She's not dead.
she's not dead.
She got
a
her-
heart.
She got her heart transplant the day after. Sorry, I'm taking a selfie for Twitter. After I came back from boot camp for
Less than
Christmas.
24 hours later. Yeah.
Yeah, I got off the train. You picked me up in my Porsche. We went and bought your new truck, and then that same night we drove the
December-
truck
December,
to
5 years ago last week.
interesting times.
It certainly was, because once again, that was another Christmas that got altered. But at the same time, it was a year after she had got the LVAD, that electric pump stuck in, and inserted her.
Left ventricular device.
Yes. Yeah. Assist
Right.
device.
Is it not? Oh yeah.
Left ventricular
Left assist ventricular. Anyways, LVAD.
Left ventricular assist device.
Whatever it
LVAD.
was. It was a pump that was extra. It was connected to, but did not help her heart in pumping. It did its own pumping instead of helping her heart do the pumping.
Yeah,
So
it assisted in pumping, so to keep her alive. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's kind of a Christmas miracle 5 years ago.
Look, there you go. Yeah,
And-
like that. There you go. It sounds so much better when you go like this. Like it's called the proximity thing. You gotta
Okay.
aim your mouth into the microphone.
There's something about putting a mic in front of the mouth.
It's
but
not.
okay.
It's. Do you want me to get you another microphone condom? I'm sure we have.
No. We're good.
We have
with this one.
ones.
It's okay.
There's like a pack of
Yeah.
clean ones around here somewhere.
I'm sure there is.
But
Find them.
don't know.
Anyway, so this week we spent time. You're going to be the narrator.
Yeah.
Of
of your
a kind of a short
nine.
a synopsis of our life story.
It's a really long synopsis, but yeah,
It's 11 minutes of
It's-
2,000 words, whatever.
it was 17 at one point.
Yeah,
17 minutes at one point.
It was
No.
actually probably like 75 minutes before we actually cut it the first time.
Yeah.
But either way, and this is a video that we're doing that we hope will help other people going through a similar situation have a little bit of give them some hope. And
I don't know
it's just-
anybody that's going through a similar situation though.
It's a rare thing, but people can associate it whether they're going.
At least
whether they've
not
got
in the
cancer.
aspect of I get being in a relationship where your partner ends up needing a heart transplant, but not coming into a relationship where someone is already
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
in the need of it. Yeah.
It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody was pretty much like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, that's why we don't talk to half of our family now. So
Well, yeah, because they are pissed because we were right and I was right and I made a decision and they didn't necessarily agree with it, and we move on. It is what it is, Unfortunately, when you get into a relationship like that and there's people that have their opinion, they typically will stand by what their opinion is, and
especially if they're women.
yes, and especially if they're wrong.
Yeah.
If they happen to be wrong, then it's
Well,
unfortunate.
if they're
because-
wrong and they're a woman, that's where it gets real dicey because those two things don't like to go together. So
yeah, well, if you ask them, they never go together.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not wrong. I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong. That's the saying.
Well, Anyway, so you're talking about a variety of different things here. You talk about a former relationship with somebody who was disrespectful to you and to myself as your former stepmother.
And not to mention Jacob being in his altered mind state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your older
Mindset.
brother. Now,
State of mind.
I don't know if people do realize that when you were 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, that you were actually teaching your brother who was double your age how to read first grade, second grade books, and you were teaching him mathematics and how to add and so forth. And
I don't ever talk about any of that stuff. So
no,
I'm glad you're talking about it.
It's something that that's part of our experience as a family, and something you should be proud of.
Yeah.
So how's it feel to be the best big brother in the whole world to Jacob Trevor Bergstrom?
Sometimes good, but when he gets my phone number, not so good.
Yeah, I have never given him your phone number.
Yeah. No.
Do you know why?
So he won't call me.
But do you know whose number I should probably give him?
Denise's.
And who else?
Nana Carol and Julie.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be kind of.
That's kind of like using
You know-
nukes. Like it ends the problem, but it's not a good. Like everybody ends up getting hurt. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
Like,
you know what true love
it's like,
is. You know what true love is for family.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love is when you
Where
don't
you get
when
death
you don't,
threats
we don't
from
give,
your brother.
when you don't give your nephews your son his
But
phone number.
think about it this way: you
Mhm.
unconditionally love him. And
I am the only
therefore-
person. He calls me 40 times,
Yes.
50 times a week.
But because you love him so much, you want him to be. So it could be like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't give their phone numbers to him, but at the same time, like he wants them, and you love him.
He's asked for them.
it's like-
He asked to see them every year for Christmas, and he hasn't seen his grandmother or his aunt and his uncle and cousin for
Yeah.
a decade. You know,
I know.
it's been a long time. You know?
Yeah. Anyways, moral of the story: our family's fucked up.
More of the story is we
Eh.
have an American family.
in more than one way, which I'm sure I've talked about briefly before about how things are a little bit different in my family. But do you want to get into some Twitter questions?
Oh, bring it.
So we'll start with an easy one. There's only 3 that I see on here that are so. Let's hear about Little 8-Track and his antics. So me being younger, do you have any childhood stories besides the tick that I got on my ball sack when I was like 6?
Okay, that was a good day.
Yeah, well, I feel like
For
that's
me,
just,
that was it. The tick on the ball sack for me was I laughed as you cried. You freaked the fuck out.
No, I know.
You literally had, oh my God, the world was coming in. To you, it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex on your ball sack. It was absolutely huge.
I mean, think
And, oh
about
my God,
like
you
how
gotta get-
small I was though, compared to it. So it's like no. Okay, we've
But we can go past that.
okay. Here we go.
You
When we talk about stories, I don't even remember. I have a really weird memory when it comes to my childhood. I feel like 9 years of it suppressed.
Well,
So-
one thing that your childhood is that I can bring up is when you
Closer,
were
closer,
3.
closer, closer.
When you were
There go.
when you were 3 years old, 4 years old, and I would take you back and forth and bring you to work with me and drop you off at daycare and so forth. You know, your whole life, you've always been on the front of a motorcycle or in a go-kart or whatever it may be. And I used to drive down the highway, bringing you to daycare, and you were so ornery that as soon as you get out on the street, you'd stop pushing my hands off the handlebars, and you thought you were the coolest kid on the planet as we're driving down the road, and you were steering a 69
But the real question
Bonneville.
was I the coolest kid on the planet? Because I think so.
I think possibly you were.
At that moment, at that exact moment, in those probably.
Yeah, and you were raised in a manner where you had go-karts and you had snowmobiles and you had motorcycles and road and so forth. And there were times when other kids were screwing around playing with Legos and you were hanging out in a welding shop and welding and grinding and getting dirty and so forth. And
Insert picture of me
the back,
on a steel pipe holding a CD upside down, reading the cover of it.
yeah,
very
thinking you were
confused.
you were reading. You actually thought you were reading a blueprint and telling me how to make whatever we happened to be
It's
making
because I was.
that day.
It was on the inside of the CD, right here, wherever I
Upside down.
inserted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was upside down in the picture. I think you turned it up right side up. But
I don't know, but I have it.
I also have that picture.
And I will say this that we joke and we look back and learn from 9 years of hell with a particular douchebag in our lives. But during that time frame, that you did have a fantastic relationship with your stepsister, who's
I would
your
actually
sister.
I would actually argue that at that point she was my best friend up until the divorce, and then there's
absolutely.
obviously when divorces happen. For those of you guys who've never been through a divorce, relationships get cut off that don't necessarily need to be, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Because of her mother and the things that were going on. And it's funny because now at that point, she was all about supporting her mom, but now she hates her because she realizes that she's a douchebag.
Well, I wouldn't say that she hates her mother. I'd say that she's frustrated and she's
Sorry, I used hate in the wrong sense there. I would
Right.
say she disagrees a lot more with her in that aspect.
And not only that, your stepsister is an amazing mom.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. She's got a beautiful little boy who's my grandson. We happen to have a stepson named Aiden, and I now have a grandson named Aiden, and Shelby and her husband Zach.
Soon to be stepson.
Yeah,
We'll
I've
talk about
never
your wedding.
been a kind of like okay.
We got to talk about when your wedding's coming up too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
That's
yeah.
a very good point.
But yeah, you've
So,
got
but
a
my
grandson
point is
and a
this:
son named
is
Aiden.
that I've got I've got Shelby to be proud of. I've got you to be proud of. I got Jacob to be proud of, and even though I speak to him too much and have to send him care packages in jail because he's a fucktard sometimes, and of course your little brother Logan, who
he's a teenager,
and he bought an Infinity,
and then wrecked it a month later.
No, he got hit by a girl.
What?
In his Infinity, but he works hard. And the one thing that I will say is this: that all you kids have a fantastic work ethic. You all work hard. You all appreciate money. You've never been. None of you kids have ever been spoiled. Which is,
I mean, certainly not me. I lived in the worst part of our life for a while there. I would say for the majority of my sentient time, we were less than middle class. I would say, for the majority of my time, the average time, I would say.
I would say that.
And for all there, we were just dirt poor.
As a single parent, and a business owner and so forth, that's a pretty fair statement.
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time because they're always like, "Oh, well, did you grow up with this?" I'm like, "No, I was poor growing up." That's just my way of explaining away.
Poor. I wouldn't say poor.
We were definitely dirt poor at one point, a couple times.
Well, yeah, we were definitely at one point we were dirt poor, but that's.
But I mean, I'm talking about average time of people that live in Florida, and then of the people that are of my current age group and everything. In that aspect, we were definitely poor. Maybe not just money wise, but maybe like modernization wise. I feel like a lot of the time we lived a generation back. It felt like whether on purpose or not.
I would agree with that. I would agree in many aspects that you didn't have some of the things that some of the other kids had at your age. You weren't running around with a brand new iPhone, and you weren't running around with this and so forth. But what you were doing is you were climbing underneath the car and you were working with your dad.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what poor people do. that's what poor kids do.
Yes, we had to fix our shit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I just,
You know, I look back and I remember, you were just talking about when you were little and so forth. That and I had that little blacksmithing shop in Badgers Island in Maine. And where
back when we were poor,
we were literally working for lobsters and stuff off the boat, and so I could feed you. And our landlord was I was doing work on the boats in order to pay the rent. But anyway, I'll never forget the first time you used to pick this. I had this one hammer, and I had the anvil out in front of the shop. And the first time you got it to where you could actually swing it up and hit the top of the anvil, and when you hit it the first time, you thought that all the traffic was going to stop and applaud you because you finally picked that friggin' it's like a 8-pound hammer up and hit the top of the anvil. You must have been no more than 4.5 years old at the time, but that's what I remember is all those little pieces and watching you learn how to build and learn how to work and learn how to be a brother and so forth. Which a lot of kids, they may have all these electronics, they didn't have that.
Mm-hmm. That's a long way of saying, I grew up poor. So. Yeah, which isn't. I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. I think getting the experiences I had growing up versus other kids, I appreciate it. Whether intentional or not, I think I had a good childhood. So, besides about 9 years in there, it was about. When was that? 2010 is when you guys got divorced. 2009.
I handed her the divorce papers on the week before Thanksgiving in 2010, which is 10 years ago.
And like 4 days after Thanksgiving, we were homeless.
Well, I went on a business trip, came home, and I was apparently not allowed in my own house, and we had I think $37
and like some pocket change.
And I had my car and and she refused to give you your clothes, me my clothes, you your bicycle. And basically emptied all the bank accounts and basically said, "I'm gonna destroy you."
Yeah, I went to school in the same because I'd gone to.
What was the number one thing that we said that during that whole thing when we went through that whole process? What was our only rule that we stated?
Denise is a bitch.
No, besides that.
Denise is a cunt.
Okay.
Other one, truth. Something about truth. There was something about that. Yeah.
Our rule. Our home
continuity.
Our number one rule in our home was always you tell the truth. Even if it pisses somebody off, it hurts somebody's feelings, or it's uncomfortable and it's like an enema. As long as you told the truth, we would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And going through that whole process of divorce and going through that whole process of hate and disgust and bankruptcy and every other thing, and eventually getting the house back. Yeah, and all those things, and losing a fantastic job and so forth. in the end, I can smile and you can smile and we can laugh because we know we always told the truth.
Yeah.
No matter how many times people would say, "Oh, they're lying," whatever it may be.
Well,
in the end,
so she may have had the house, but who ended up with the house is a real question. Yeah, exactly.
I ended up with the house, and I also got custody of your little brother because we told the truth, and we did the right thing. And even if it did bankrupt me, and I lost a lot of shit,
and had one of your sons hate you for about 6 months because he was brainwashed by her.
Well, more than 6 months because
that was about a year.
Yeah.
I mean, even a little bit to this day, but it was for a while.
You bring up an interesting fact. It's the first recorded case ever in the state of Florida of anybody winning a custody case on the basis of parental alienation.
Yeah.
It was
alienation is the word you tried to say there.
Alienation. Parental alienation.
There you go.
It had been used as a basis of complaint,
kind of like a
so forth. Like it was
like a way, like instead of like hard evidence, kind of like a way to.
It was
like someone's like, "What about alienation?" They're like, okay, cool,
prove it." Well, first time in Florida law that a case was won on that.
Well, she literally brainwashed him into thinking that we both abused him.
She went to school with pictures of me being eaten by a shark that they would draw at the night before at dinner table.
Yeah,
there were problems in that house, but whatever. Yeah. In the end, he's a good kid. He works really hard, and he's going to hopefully go in the Air Force and become a pilot.
Hey, Logan, maybe you'll listen to this one day. If you're in the Air Force, don't be. Okay, anyways, next. Now, the Air Force is good. If you guys are ever thinking about joining the military branch, do your due diligence. I'm in the Army. It's cool and all, but just, different branches come with different workloads. Obviously, the Marine Corps, you're going to get told you're fucking amazing and then treated like shit, but that's what we call, was it Stockholm Syndrome, right? That's kind of what they got through.
The Army, I'm just going to point one thing out, by the way. Okay, is that I'm doing the same trade that I did in the Marine Corps, and I make
awesome.
A substantial amount of money.
No, but that was my next point. Let me finish the thought. Let me finish the thought. Anyways, the Army is, it's kind of an equal of, like I've always said that, the military gives you just enough to want to stay in, but not enough for you to be thrilled about it, if that makes any sense. So the Army is pretty good. You get obviously any military branch, you get a lot more free time than people think, for the most part. Except for if you're a Marine for some reason. But whatever branch you do choose, just remember, if you're ever going to go in, don't just go in and be an infantryman. Go in, pick a trade, and do that, and then run with that, because what you do in the military can be what you do for the rest of your life. So if you want to be a mechanic or a welder or whatever, join the military if you have that thought to do that, so you can get the training, come out of the military, and go straight into it instead of paying $2,000 for a license to go do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
You just made me proud.
Well, I'm saying that,
it sounds familiar.
Yeah, right? It's so funny looking over at you, and you've got a pair of vice grips holding your microphone.
you realize we had this conversation like almost 6 years ago.
I know.
It was 6 years ago, actually.
I know.
And your concern with 6 years ago was jumping out of planes and going different places and getting laid. And then I said to you, no, you need to do either something in the medical field, aviation field, whatever. And you would defiantly, no. And then you went in the Army.
Well, I decided I wanted to work on helicopters, is what I said.
Because you had the aptitude for it, and you made the right decision. But prior to that,
because I thought I was an idiot, and because I was failing all my classes, and I realized that was just because of girls.
Yeah,
and
he was
alcohol.
in love and was going to stay back because he had his fine-ass girlfriend that he was crazy about. And then in a matter of like 3 days, took 12 days, took 3 classes, and graduated.
It was 12 days, and I did 3.5 semesters of classes in 12 days.
Yeah.
I graduated by 0.1%. I was supposed to fail math, but it was a 59.9, and they rounded up to a 60, and it was just technically passing, and I passed high school. So.
And not only did you pass high school, you passed the high school. You got a free Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
You went in the Army, and you had your birthday.
Well, you're the one that didn't think I was. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I said.
Don't just say you
got a free. There's no fucking way you were going to stay in the house one more year.
Just think about this first off. Okay, the quote unquote free Harley Davidson. Okay,
you earned it.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
you earned it.
Anyways, so we made a bet. We went to a Harley dealership where I think it was during
I paid you off
Christmas. Was it Christmas? It may have been around your birthday. It was your birthday because I was buying you a Christmas gift. It was when we were at the dealership because it was May.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was May. It was like right before graduation.
I bought the bike before my birthday.
I'm not talking about. Oh, okay. Well, then maybe it was.
We
It
went.
might have been Christmas before then, because I think
That
I
would
bought
be
the ring,
correct.
the ring you're wearing. If you want to
Yes.
show it,
Yeah. So here.
this the wrench ring.
Yeah. This one right here.
I bought him that for Christmas, and while we were at the dealership and I was buying that, we saw a motorcycle, and I was like, "Oh, I want a motorcycle one day." And which now I don't really care about motorcycles anymore, but at the time, and he's like, "I'll buy it for you if
Because
you
you
graduate."
crashed.
But this was after. No, it's not just that, but it's. So after we get there and see the motorcycle, I'm like, I want that. He's like, well, if you graduate high school, this is like right after having a meeting with my guidance counselor saying, hey, there is 0% chance he's going to be able to graduate high school. He's like, I'll buy you for this if you graduate. So anyways, I graduated, and then I had a Harley, and now I just,
Let me clarify. What I said was, if you graduate and you go in the Army, I will buy you a going
at
in
this
the
point,
Army
I was already-
graduation birthday present.
At this point, I
which
was
would be
already set to go in, though. I'd already talked to recruiters.
But you weren't going in unless you graduated. You weren't going to graduate. So
yeah, but
there's a
that's implied.
big- I know.
It's implied task. Anyways,
Details.
anyways, I win.
So anyway,
And
You
now
got- you got
he
the
has-
Harley.
He has
It's in
my
my
Harley
garage.
now. Yeah, you now have it because I don't want to ride it anymore. Because I have a dog and 2 cats to look after, and I just can't have my life hanging in the balance on 2 wheels. So here we are.
that's stupid.
It's also I just don't like driving it. It's just too much stress. It's good. It's
one of these
cool.
days.
It's cool for like. You're like, whoa, remember that one time? But then, like, when you're in the active age, you're like, I almost died doing that because, I'm just.
You had a few experiences when your dad wasn't with you.
No, I mean, I drove it.
Yes, you did.
I mean, when I was in Hawaii,
Never
I
had a
had
problem when dad was there.
I had multiple people try and run me off the road when I was
Yeah.
on the motorcycle.
Yeah, and I can
almost
understand that.
almost every single day I drove
At
the
one-
motorcycle.
At one time, you'll go and say, "Hey, let's just go for a ride. We'll go for a ride somewhere where there's not a bunch of fucking idiots all over the road."
Anyways, in Hawaii, I don't know if you guys know this or not. They don't like military people there. So I was
or motorcycles,
or white people.
or motorcycles,
or motorcycles. It's true.
especially white people have
they-
motorcycles in the
That are in
military.
the military. Yeah. So when you're wearing a army outfit, obviously white, driving a motorcycle, they tend to not like you very much. And
Target.
there was 4 or 5 different times that people would try and run me off the road, which obviously I'm on a motorcycle, I just drop a gear and disappear. But they pull into your lane pretending not to see you. And there's times where we were on the road when I knocked down that lady's window when she was coming over. It's not. You were with me that time. See, you said there was never a time where I wasn't with you. That time you were with me. We were on the road. He was in front of me, and this lady just starts coming over because she was looking at her phone while talking to her her mom in the passenger seat or whatever. So she got so close that I was actually pounding on her window because there was a guardrail, telling her to get back over into her lane. And she looked over at me, and then she immediately started crying, and they drove off. But yeah, that you were there for that.
I love motorcycles.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you've got
Several.
I mean, there's a lot of Harley stuff in here.
Yeah. I have a really. I like motorcycles.
Yeah.
I like anything fast,
You
especially if
you
it's-
do you.
Yeah.
I'm good with my life and chilling. So
It's okay.
Yeah.
Cats are cool,
no, yeah, they are.
and puppies are
My,
better.
my dog's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast. I got a
well,
German
hold-
Shepherd. She's not here.
Wait a second. So tell me,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next question from Twitter?
Twitter.
You slacking?
Well, I was hoping to. I mean, they're not. You don't necessarily have to answer all of them. It's more of a when you don't have something to talk about. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Here's a good one. This one's from my buddy Marcus, also known as Freak Styler. Does he have a moment in his life where he feels like he made the wrong choice? Like one of
Yes.
those. Okay, relax. Like one of those decisions in your youth you just grow to regret with age and wisdom. Example: I regret not taking high school seriously. I joined the Navy junior year, so I didn't worry about my GPA. All I needed was my diploma. It didn't matter what grades I made, but now my high school transcript definitely doesn't reflect on my intelligence. I regret that.
Many,
Okay.
but the
You can talk this out while I get a beer.
Okay, get me one while you're at it. What?
Which one do you want?
I want the Heafy Weissbier. My answer to that question would be this. I would say that decisions that I regret. I would say that making poor decisions, trying different things as an adult that I probably shouldn't have tried. I tried drugs as a young adult. Probably not the best decision I ever made. I would say that I have driven when I probably shouldn't have driven. Those are poor decisions. And I would also say that trusting someone before they've actually earned that trust. So I live kind of by the seat of my pants and work really hard. One of my biggest regrets is that, like that gentleman asked, in high school.
His name is Marcus.
Marcus. I didn't take school seriously. School was a joke to me. I believed that if I could go into class and I could ace tests, that I didn't have to do homework. Big mistake. It was.
I think homework is. I don't necessarily agree with homework because it actually, I think, makes it harder for you to learn because you don't have downtime for your brain to absorb the information.
You would never put in a situation where you were demanded to do homework if you had good grades.
No, never.
And what people may not realize is that you were actually honor society.
Oh yeah, it was at one
until
point.
you met a girl and actually got a little something.
Multiple girls, but yeah.
But yeah, the point is this: is that it was pussy that screwed up all your, because you could have gone to any college you wanted. You're a smart guy.
It wasn't just that. It was money too. I had a job, and
you did work hard.
I liked having a job,
and you did skateboard many miles.
I'm gonna look it up right now since we're in the area.
It's 13.
Of how far? I think it's like 13 miles.
It might be 13 miles.
I think it's 13 miles.
Your father was a bad father because he used to make you take a longboard or take your gas-powered bicycle to work.
I don't think I've ever actually. Maybe I'll take a picture.
You need to take a picture of the bike. I saved that bike, and that bike will never be sold because it's a. Watching you,
so kids my age,
absolute pouring rain.
My kids my age. Before we go into what it is, I want to talk about. Before kids my age get Xboxes for Christmas, I got a kit to put a lawnmower engine, on a bicycle and make it a motorcycle,
so you could drive yourself to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was a good dad.
This is post marriage, right? Yeah, it's post divorce. Well, I guess during the divorce,
but I helped you build it.
Yeah, you're right. But you did not help me maintain it. I figured everything out after that fact myself.
But you became a helicopter mechanic.
It's true.
Because of me.
Turn wrench.
Because I pointed you in the direction not being a little pussy-ass bitch that has to rely on your father to buy you a new car.
Yeah. 13. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so
of which your first car is in my driveway as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Which happened to be rear-ended by Angela on our first date.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? Your first date with Angela?
Yeah, my first date with Angela, we went out and we went into Seasons 52, and we were all fancy and everything else, went to Cheesecake Factory, and then she talks about going out and doing some karaoke, and after we were doing that, on the way there, she was talking to someone.
12 miles.
See, we were both pretty close.
12 miles, but that's 24 miles there and back.
And in Florida, 12 miles in the afternoon is wet.
And flat. But I'm talking about flat on the skateboard where there's no hills you don't get to.
You were doing this.
The only good thing about
your right leg was bigger than your left leg.
Maybe that's why that hip went first. It might be a correlation.
The point is this: is that when I was on that first date with Angela, and I stopped at a stop sign, and she was probably talking to some other dude on Plenty of Fish or whatever. She rear-ended me while I was driving your car because my car was a Cadillac SUV and cut a queer.
His was not just that; it was also kind of a piece of shit.
It was a piece of shit.
It was on its last legs.
It was way cooler to be driving your kid's antique Porsche.
Yeah,
we bought at a pawn shop,
which I've talked about before on the podcast. That's a good story to talk to you about. Again, like confirming my stories because I tell a lot of these stories, and sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, that happened."
Yeah.
How we came upon the Porsche? I was looking at a Pontiac Fiero.
Yes, you were.
And then you were getting your shoes and jacket, and I looked up PO for Pontiac, and Porsche popped up, and I was like, let's see what happens. And then there we go. 1988 Porsche 924S for $3,000, which we talked him down to $1,800.
Dad came in and saved the day.
Yeah. So yeah, there's your confirmation for my Porsche. People still don't think that I had a Porsche. Like
it's here. It's in the driveway.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Does it work now?
Yes, it does. It has a fuel leak, but it works fine. And it runs really good, actually, when it has fuel.
After I went through and cleaned out the entire thing and fixed it, yeah.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it sat for a few years while you were in Hawaii.
Did I put new spark? I think I put new spark plugs.
Yeah, and I pulled I pulled the whole fuel system. We pulled the whole fuel injection system out.
Okay, so you keep saying you.
I helped you.
You went to do it.
We did.
Didn't want to break anything.
We did it together.
So you walked away, and you told me, I was going to pull it out, but it's old, and I don't want to break the seals. but I brute forced it, pulled the entire thing out. I cleaned it myself,
I'm
put
so
it back
fucking
in.
proud of you.
So, anyways, you said, yeah, this might fix it. So I did it. So, anyways, you suggested the idea, but I did it.
You can have all the credit.
You're a lieutenant at heart right now. Is what I'm. Yeah.
Next subject. We're gonna skip over that because that's
okay.
I get nothing.
What was one of the most difficult choices you had to make? What changed your life? I guess those are two different questions, but
The most difficult decision I ever had to make.
it doesn't have to be in regards to me or any of your sons, but in general.
Ooh, the most difficult decision.
'Cause I feel like a lot of these questions you try and engineer to be towards me because I'm here.
Well, like
but in general,
my life since I was 20 years old, 22 years old has been a dad. So instinctively I tie it together. The most difficult decision I ever made
but
was...
remember, I'm not on your podcast. You're on my podcast, so it's about you. It's not about me. If that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
So we're asking you questions.
Excuse me. Let's see.
Jackfire or Fireball? Is that the most difficult question? Is that the most, I mean, we all know it's Jackfire.
No, it's
Anyways.
always Jackfire. Jackfire. Fireball.
Anyways,
Stupid.
most difficult decision you ever made?
The most difficult decision I ever made. Can we come back to that one? I want to think about it. What's the other question?
That was it. That was well.
No, here was two-part.
What changed your life?
What changed my life was...
I would say, what is the most... The
Okay,
thing that most drastically changed your life.
okay,
And
the
just
thing
don't
that-
talk about the divorce.
I'm not going to talk about divorce. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's, you know what? I sit back now. We're in a beautiful home. I have a good job. I've got many things I've worked very hard for.
Also,
and she-
before you talk about this, he's indicating to his office he strategically placed guns around his office so that there's guns on both cameras.
Second Amendment, motherfucker.
I just want to say that. I also had to remove some propaganda for political aspects that were around here because I'm in the Army, and that makes me apolitical. Since on the podcast I've said that I am Army, I don't support anybody, at least not publicly, and I do not represent the U.S. government or the U.S. Army's opinions at all. Anyways, continue on your. You have such a beautiful house, and you were talking about how everything's changed.
well,
and it's better,
my I totally lost my train of thought since you interrupted the anti-Trump comments. And
it wasn't anti-Trump. I told you I'm in the middle.
Excuse me, middle, not.
I'm not
whatever.
anti-Trump. I'm not anti-anybody. I think everybody has their own. My political opinion. Okay, again,
My political
mine and
opinion.
not representing anybody.
Is this about me or about you right now?
Look, you brought it up. You said I was
Okay.
anti-Trump.
Second
I'm
Amendment.
not anti-anybody. No, that's what I'm saying.
Constitutionalist.
Yeah, okay.
Libertarian, right?
Yes, I'm libertarian.
Okay. then we're
So I
in
was going to
agreement.
say, I am libertarian. The Army is not libertarian. I do not represent any opinions of the Army. And now that I've said that in the podcast, I can technically talk about politics. This podcast is not endorsed by the military. And I, as a member of the military, do not endorse this podcast. But as a personal person, I do. So there you go.
Okay. Joe Biden's a fuck. Anyway, you were asking.
This is not a political podcast.
I know
That
we're
is
talking about
my dad's
most
personal
dis-
belief.
we're talking about difficult decisions.
Yes, your most difficult decision.
And the thing that changed my life the most.
Yeah, you can do the latter first if you want.
The thing that changed my life the most is when your older brother,
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
at 10 months old, I became a single dad of an autistic child. This is gonna sound wrong. It totally ruined my world.
It
Because,
doesn't. So I
in so
agree
many
with
ways.
that, though.
I had to become a responsible person at a very
No,
young
you have to think
age
he's
on my own.
you're a 4-year Marine at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Hey, just get out.
okay. So you were just out.
Yep.
At this point,
Forced
you
out.
are like, oh, okay. I got because it was medical, right? It was your
Yeah.
knee.
Yeah. I had.
Okay. So in your mind at this point, you are not super pro Marine, knowing how it works. You may think you now looking back on it, you're like, oh, the Marine Corps is awesome. At that point, you were like, fuck the government, fuck the Marines. There's no way you weren't. After your knee.
I would say that's a fair statement. But when you first get out at that point, I was
Yeah.
frustrated.
You're
because
trying to find people to blame because your body broke down on you. Is what it is.
No,
you don't
no,
want to.
well, what
100%.
What happened was this: my intention was to be a
20
career
Yeah.
military man. I knew that if I didn't, I went in the military because I knew I was either going to go in the military or I was going to end up in jail because I was hellfire. Fire.
So I have a question about that.
What?
Was that your mentality or was that the ultimatum given to you?
There was no ultimatum.
So what did the judge say is my question.
There was never a judge involved.
Well, don't say that because obviously there was.
There was no judge. That
maybe not in this decision.
There may have been people that recommended it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what
was their badge number? Just a question.
I don't know.
Anyways,
there was no badges.
Never.
But
that's not true.
No, there were badges, obviously,
Yeah.
but they weren't badges telling me what I got to do. I mean, I was obviously.
Anyways,
I mean,
it was understood within the family at this point a change needed to be made because you're being a reckless punk. And then you took it upon yourself to do so. Well, you and your grandfather, Joe, right?
No, actually, what happened was I took the ASVAB. I didn't really go to the ASVAB, and
was that just one of those? Hey, there's recruiters at the high school.
No,
they're doing the ASVAB, or did you go into a recruiting station?
I tried actually getting in when I was 16.
Which you can't do. You have to be 17.
No. Well, back then,
still 17 with parents' permission. You can do it 17.
Back then, you could get into the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy without a high school diploma.
Oh yeah, you're right. 'Cause you could do a GED.
You could, but you couldn't get in the Marine Corps without a diploma. You've never been able to get in without a diploma unless you had a court order. I didn't need a court order.
Yeah, you were pretty close to it though.
But I probably could have got one if I really, put my head,
Do you see why now? Do you now see why I yelled into the microphones earlier?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? You almost peaked.
Yeah.
So now you get
So point being is that I knew that it was in my best interest if I wanted to have a career because I hated school. I was not going to go. I could have gone to college. There was no problem. Could have gone to college, but I didn't want to go to school, and I didn't want to be. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to travel. I wanted to leave, go somewhere besides Barrington, freaking New Hampshire, and so I said I'm going to go in the military. So I took the ASVAB test. In the Army, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and everybody kind of said, "Hey," they handed me the book and said, "What do you want to do?"
It's a similar story to what happened to me when I scored. I got 118, which isn't max, but again, I took it in 10th grade, and then they were like, "Hey," I mean, I get phone calls now, still to this day, of people that are like, "Hey, you want to come join the Army?" And I'm like, I work in the same department as you do." It's like, don't call me.
Yeah. And that's pretty much. There was a major general. His name was Al Shealy, and he basically said to me, he said, "Listen."
He was a retired general, right?
Yeah, he was retired, and he was. I called him Uncle Al. He was he wasn't technically my uncle, but I looked up to him, and he said, "Yeah, you really should do something because you're fucking going nowhere." And he told me. I asked him about the militaries because I didn't have parents that explained that to me.
It's because they probably didn't. I mean, your father did. I'd say my grandfather. Your father did, but at the same time, your father was also an alcoholic, and if you asked him questions like that, he's not going to.
My mother and my father are both alcoholics.
Yeah,
my whole life. They
I would say half agreed now because Bamp is we call him Bampy instead of Grampy.
My father is not an alcoholic at this point. Well,
is a recovered alcoholic.
He's recovered. Excuse me. My father, I have got to say, is probably one of the best people on the planet.
Absolutely.
That we know. Okay. He's the only person I know that said, okay, when we put him in rehab back in like 1987, he said, I'm not going to drink anymore, and actually does not drink anymore. He is the most clear-minded, smartest 80-year-old man,
which is
you could
sometimes
ever imagine.
It's sometimes so annoying how smart he is.
He's wicked freaking smart.
It's bothersome because you think as an 80-year-old man he wouldn't understand electronics or anything like that or social media, but my God, he's what I wish I could be at his age. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, the fact that he manages to stay up on everything and like I don't have to. He never calls me to explain him how to use things or whatever. Like, and the fact that he doesn't lost his I would say like mental structure, if that makes sense.
My father is the clearest minded person at 80 years old and has because he hasn't drank for years. He doesn't like misremember something.
No,
he remembers
which
everything.
Is one of the worst parts.
And the thing is that when he doesn't understand
I love
something,
Bam so much.
I do too. And the thing is that he sits back and he's the kind of guy that will sit back and analyze a situation. If it takes him 2 fucking years, he takes 2 years to get this fact straight before he draws a conclusion on things.
And this is like keep in mind, this is like from the smallest conversation. If you say something that may not be exactly right, he'll be like, whoa, hold on. He'll be like, no. If
it doesn't click, it doesn't fit.
Yeah,
and he takes his time.
Which is appreciated, though, at the same time.
Now, granted, on the other side, my mom is always acted as though she's the on the victim side, more of an Al-Anon, the wife of an alcoholic and so forth. But she's been she's been an alcoholic my whole life, and it's unfortunate. But and I love her dearly. But she doesn't remember the way that she's
the opposite.
Because of alcoholism, she doesn't get her shit straight.
Yeah, alcohol's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad for you. Anyways,
alcoholism.
But I would say the thing is with her is like, because I would agree. She's, as far as I can remember, Nana has always been a drinker. So, and up in like the past like 6 years where I've been more aware of what's going on in the world and in life and stuff, I feel like it not necessarily hasn't gotten worse, but it's been more, she's been less secretive about it. She likes to call when she's hammered.
Yeah, we don't take phone calls after 7 o'clock.
Well, I don't take her phone calls at all now. But
probably 4 years ago, we stopped taking phone calls after 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
and it wasn't necessarily just me. It was my sister. It was you. It was everybody. Everybody pretty much said, "Hey, listen, after 7, don't talk to Nana." Because in the morning she's going to think she said something different than she said, and so forth. And it's an unfortunate truth, but it's we love her dearly, but it is what it is. So that's just
we don't talk to her. I don't talk to her right now.
We're not right now, no, because
things are just kind of fucky in our family, guys.
It is it's unfortunate, but
just
what's really unfortunate is that we're actually we've got this amazing wedding coming up.
Yeah, in March.
March 20th.
It's gonna be epic.
Angela and I, after 6 years, after dozens of times in the hospital, and after going through hell and back, finally we're legally getting married. Though we've lived our life as though we're married.
Insert clip of Elvis.
Yep.
Right here.
No.
Somewhere.
So
yeah. This clip. You need to. Now I'm gonna have. I might just edit this on your computer.
It's okay.
I do want to.
Whatever you gotta do.
They got married. They got married by Elvis, and it's hilarious because it was like, okay, they had a celebration of ceremony and life. Blue suede shoes. Yeah, exactly. A celebration of a love and a life. And all of a sudden, I'm going Sylvester Stallone, and then it's lost. I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, I love her, and we've been through hell. And in March 20th, a very amazing story is being told, which you are narrating.
Yeah, we've talked about that in the beginning. That was kind of the beginning of this entire conversation.
But we didn't finish it.
I'm narrating a video that is going to have pictures and things of their journey, all from when they met and where she rear-ended my car to where they're getting married now. I guess not to where she got the heart transplant a little bit after.
Yeah, through my accident.
We talk about Doug Voss, right?
Doug Voss, the man that
that approved his mother's heart to be donated.
He's our 7th child.
Yeah,
and we have a crazy.
He's the guy that got his mother passed away, and he told the doctors that Angela could have her heart.
He donated his mom's organs and saved Angela's life.
Saved 5 people's lives, 4 people's lives,
at least 4. At least 4.
Yeah.
Doug is the kind of guy that everybody wishes their children were like. Doug is the kind of guy that, and I don't think you've actually met him because you've been in the military.
I feel like I have, but I was probably drunk.
Possibly.
That's what I feel like, because I have like a faint memory of someone saying, "Here's Doug," and I'm like, "Okay." And then afterwards, it might have been explained to me, but I don't remember. Whenever I'm home, I spend a lot of time under the influence.
What it comes down to is this: is that Doug is. We've got Shelby as a 7th child because she's our daughter. We got the 6 boys. We got a daughter, and now we have Doug. And Doug is.
We've also got Grace too, so I guess there's
Grace
like 9 kids.
We got a shitload of kids.
Yeah, and Aiden.
Doug's
Aiden
like
2.0.
all of your big brother in a certain way. And when you meet him or spend time with him, which I can't, I'm looking forward to us, literally you, me, and Doug.
Maybe we should do another podcast in March with Doug here.
We could do that. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, Doug's pretty quiet. He's a lot like Angela.
So
Doug, actually,
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised though when you put a microphone in front of those people. Because I've been on.
I would think that we could do that, but we should go for a ride. Go to like Arcadia. Have a couple of drinks.
Do you want to like mic up your car on the way
there? We could do whatever. The point is this: is that Doug, the moment that I met him, was literally like having a family member. when in March 16th or so, whatever it was of 2016, a year after he had donated his mom's heart to Angela, and I helped. We got him down to Florida to meet Angela. When they walked in the room, it was an immediate connection.
Yeah,
those two are so much alike. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, it's also that they say that when you do get a donor's heart, it's like it's not just the heart you're getting, or
you're not
just
getting
the organ you're getting. You get a little bit of their personality.
I mean,
as well.
Angela doesn't eat seafood. She came out of the hospital from having a heart transplant, and
she
her
eats
donor
sushi
was
now.
and she turned around and wanted to have fish and chips. What's up with that shit? And then
we had sushi in Hawaii too, and she actually had some, which was like I was like, what?
Yeah, and Laurie was like a seafood eater, and Angela never ate seafood.
Yeah,
now she doesn't eat seafood and so forth. Whatever.
Maybe like some of that personality was like in the
anyway,
veins and it like washed out or something. I don't know how that works.
We may have lost a couple of family members in this whole process going that didn't necessarily agree with our relationships and so forth, but we got Doug. Yeah, and Doug is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Where does he live at?
He lives in New York.
That sucks.
And apparently he's a really good diesel mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was trying to get him down here for Christmas, but I COVID the shit out of it.
Is he coming down for your wedding?
That's the interesting thing. See,
Doug no, I forgot. Yeah, duh, it's in the script. I was gonna say, wait. Go ahead. You can. Yeah,
it's hard to say, but he's giving Angela away.
Yeah, he's gonna walk her down the aisle. Yeah, that's in my script.
How fucking cool is the fact that the man who saved a woman's life by giving his mom her heart has been asked by Angela to give her hand in marriage to me.
Yeah.
I'm king.
Yeah.
I'm getting his mother and Angela in marriage, and he gets to walk her down the aisle. I hope that
polygamy
every person
at its finest, chat. It's polygamy at its
stop.
finest. That's what it is.
No, what it is.
Well, that's what you just said.
It's amazing.
You just said it. You just you alluded to it. Anyways, I'm very straight to the point. My dad's marrying two women at once, so
they're both
take that, liberals.
They're both beautiful women.
Anyways, continue.
The worst decision in my life was one of the questions.
Yeah.
I answered that question in your absence, and that was trying drugs, getting arrested, and doing other crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Which I want to say, I never did. As much as I've told you, I mean, being blatantly honest, I've only ever smoked weed once, and it was post high school. My big issue in high school was alcohol. I drank a lot of alcohol, and I smoked a lot of cigarettes. Other than that, I never gotten anything else. That was about it. Which, I mean, I've smoked since I was on and off since I was 14, which he didn't know until I was...
It's my fault. I turned a blind eye.
I mean, he didn't know fully until we were at a bar drinking together on New Year's of last year, right? It was last year or the year before? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, everybody has their vices, but I never did drugs. I just didn't. I found an appeal to it because I think I'm one of those people that even like alcohol now is like one of those things where it's like I don't like to get drunk because I like to have my perception of what's going on. I like to have memories as well, so I don't like.
I had to grow marijuana to keep you fed.
Yeah, no, I figured. Yeah,
but at one time in life. So it just goes to show that you have,
So, anyways, we weren't poor growing up.
We did whatever we had to do.
It's never poor. What are you talking about?
We weren't poor.
No.
Yeah. So.
Well, he did pour water to keep his marijuana plants. Anyways.
No, they were in the swamps.
Oh, okay. Anyways.
Nottingham swamps.
I don't know those guys that do know or don't know. I grew up in
multiple
my
places.
childhood. Yeah, I claim New Hampshire though because I don't want to claim Florida. Florida's just grew up in, I'd say mainly Barrington, even though we didn't necessarily live in Barrington, but
yeah,
Barrington is
Stratford County, Rockingham County.
Yeah, it's
you grew up in a welding
Barrington's
shop.
Where you go to get your groceries and where you go to see your family, which at that time was great. That family back then was great. Growing up, my grandmother, my aunt, and my aunt's husband, so my uncle, his parents, which is funny, my uncle's parents lived in the house that we used to live in, the duplex. They all lived right next to each other. And then, what is it, an eighth of a mile up the road is where my grandfather lived. He also owned the house across the street, which is where the woman he married lived. It's so weird to think like all...
He used to plow her snow.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tap into this real quick because because you're bringing up somebody who is also one of the most wonderful people that's ever been in your life. Is your aunt.
No, oh yeah,
your
absolutely.
Nana Dawn.
Absolutely.
Somebody else who I personally cherish.
Well, yeah, and the fact that she's been there for I keep saying Bamp. You interrupted me last time. Bamp. So my grandfather, we call him Bampy or Bamp instead of Grandpa or Grampy, because Brittany, who's one of my cousins, couldn't pronounce Grampy, so she would say Bampy.
Bampy.
So we call him
Well,
Bamp.
and
or
his
Steve.
and
name's
his
Steve.
father was referred
It'd
to
be
as
interesting
Big Bamp.
if we could have 4 of us, or the 3 of us on a podcast and do 3. That'd be an interesting conversation. Because, well, I mean, then again, it'd be 4 hours long because he'd talk the whole time. I mean,
You talking about Bamp?
yes, that's yeah. That'd be
That would be so freaking cool.
it'd be. Only thing that would suck about it is we would we would drink, but he wouldn't. You know,
He'd have old duels,
That's true. Yeah, he drinks. He drinks,
and he would
non-alcoholic beer.
certainly have plenty to say.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying he would have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we're already going for an hour and 4 minutes.
Nana Dawn, we absolutely love you
Yeah.
and have for decades now.
I don't know if she listens to this, but Nana and I, if you're
She
listening,
will.
absolutely, we
Yeah.
appreciate you and everything you do
What-
for Bamp and for us and for accepting us. in your
She's my
family.
she's not biologically my mother.
I
but
mean,
she's
right now
biolo-
she's my favorite grandparent. So
absolutely. do you know when Angela had the heart transplant that Nana Dawn made her a beautiful little quilt?
yes, and I
Yeah.
also remember that Nana Dawn was on the other side and then came to our side. After so again we talk about Angela having a heart condition when she met with my dad. There was initially some issues with one side of the family thinking that she was trying to use my dad for money, because at this point my dad was recovering after bankruptcy and starting to make his swing back, and he got a really good job that he has now to this day as a salesperson for buildings and doing the sales department, also working on airside doors and stuff, which you can plug all that at the end if you want to. But on his upswing, he met Angela after the divorce, and she was in the middle of a divorce, not fully divorced when they met. She was still married. Actually, I don't even think she was in the middle of a divorce. I think she was just still married.
She was still married.
My
and
dad is Jody. What I'm trying to say. Anyways,
I was Jody, but her husband at the time was living with other people in an apartment in California, who happens to be now one of them happens to be his wife. So
anyways,
I may have been Jody, but
okay,
he was
yes.
dickhead.
So, anyways, Jody, across the room here. So that's how that whole thing worked out, and a lot of people looking outwards on the story they don't really see the personality matchup, because Angela is very different from my dad, which I'm very different from Grace, which I'm sure you can attest to. She doesn't talk as much as I do. But
No
at the same
shit.
time, when we're in public, she talks more than I do. So
I
when
love Grace.
I'm super anxious about social situations and stuff. A lot of the time, I'll just sit back with people I don't know, at least at bars and things. And Grace she'll talk when I don't, and at the same time, I'll talk when she doesn't, if that makes sense. So in more personal scenarios, she's very conservative and holds back what she's talking about. And same thing applies to you and Angela, I think. When you're out and about, you tend to not talk as much, and she is very much more fluid in social situations than you are. But when it comes to personal people, she is usually very conservative about it, and you, on the other hand, are not. So
It works very well.
yeah.
It works very well.
So anyways, half of our family didn't like Angela because she thought that she was just trying to get my dad to pay for her whole heart thing she had going on. But they also knew that she was in a marriage, but just the whole situation is kind of, from an outside perspective, doesn't look right. But from an internal perspective of seeing the two of them together and understanding their relationship is a completely different thing.
That's
You
where
understand
people
that they
failed.
work together. So,
People failed.
and people didn't spend time with the two of you together because they straight up said they didn't like her, and instead of spending the time to understand the person and not the idea, they ruined it for themselves, if that makes sense. I think that's a good way of explaining it, is they didn't know the person, so they just went off their thoughts of the idea, and they didn't spend time to get, because they have an idea of who she is, but they don't know who she is, and they didn't work to spend time to understand her.
They didn't put in the effort.
Yeah, which is laziness.
Which
and,
is,
yeah.
and frankly, it was family that did that. The
No,
family
yeah.
is
No,
the
that's what
one
I'm
that
saying.
failed.
That's what I'm saying.
You nailed it. But in reality, because Angela and I are extremely busy in a social environment between pool and being an MC and veteran, different things and so forth.
Yeah,
and so
can you
on.
guys tell my dad's in the Marine Corps?
A little bit?
Or was in the Marine Corps? Sorry.
Yeah. So, but
He's also in a motorcycle club, is what he's talking about when he says the club.
Yeah.
He's in the
we're
sorry,
Leatherneck's MC.
motors. Is it a club or is it a crew? Is it a
Shut the
gang? I
fuck
don't
up.
know anymore. It's
The Brotherhood. The Brotherhood of Marines and our motorcycles driving across the U.S. The few the proud, the Marine Corps.
Anyways, continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, well, it's a motorcycle club. It's all honorably discharged Marines called the Leather.
Are you all honorably discharged?
Yeah.
All of you?
Yeah.
Do you guys have to bring in your DD-214?
Actually, you have to go through a background check. You got to bring in a DD-214 and so forth. I
That's
processed that through.
Well, no, I mean you have
It's serious.
stacks of paper that are we've shoved off screen so you can't see.
Don't look over there.
Yeah, there's
Don't look over there or over there.
You can't go past what is it, like right here. And like right
Whatever.
And then yours is the lamp on the side of your shelf.
The point being made. The point being made is that our the people that you expect to sit back and actually take the time and analyze a possible relationship.
Yeah, people that are supposed to love you
is your fucking family.
Yeah.
Okay. And in my particular case, and you kids as well, initially were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing getting this relationship?" And I got in this relationship.
I didn't give a shit.
Well,
I think out
I
of
said
everybody,
you kids. I was not.
I mean,
let
look,
me
I endured Tammy. I endured Jesse. I didn't give a shit at that point. And that point, I was like a year out from leaving anyway. So it was whenever. And then I mean, Angela's out of all of the this is in the scenario where it flips almost, where I'm going to analyze his girlfriends because usually it's a dad talking about their son's girlfriends. My dad's really shitty with women, and that grew over to me too. And then at one point you get lucky. At some point you get lucky, and I think we both got lucky. I'm married to Grace, and she's awesome, and he's with Angela now. I mean, every dog, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Every squirrel finds its nut, whatever saying you want to put here, and
You've never seen the two of us have crosswords.
Crosswords? What do you mean?
I mean, you've never seen us argue.
Oh, that's not true at all. But yeah, we'll pretend it's not true for the podcast. Oh, Angela gets mad at you all the time. You're like me and Grace too, because I tell her, I was like, we never fight, and she's like,
No, I don't.
because I don't eat. I don't.
Let me clarify. You've never seen her disrespect.
Well, that's because she's established herself as the alpha, and that in your case, you understand that. You're like, when Angela's like, no, and you're like, oh, okay, and which I mean, technically you're not arguing, but at the same
You're
that's
full
fine.
of shit.
That's fine. It's okay to have your woman be the alpha. I mean, that's a healthy relationship. That's fine.
Of all the women that I've been with over the years, and there's been a couple of them, Angela's by far.
Yeah, and
the most beautiful and most respectable woman I've ever been.
No, absolutely, and I think she's also the most understanding. She doesn't form opinions until she's got either repetition to form that opinion where you say like, oh man, that guy's kind of an asshole. Oh, but he might be drunk. We'll see. She's very understanding of the fact of like people aren't the same every time you meet them. And she doesn't really form opinions about people. And I've asked her before, like when we were out at places, I was like, man, that guy's kind of a dick. And she's like, oh well,
give it time.
Yeah, exactly. You said your worst decision you ever made.
Well, the decision we started to go was a secondary part of that conversation.
Well,
what
decision
was the
GT.
what decision was the biggest impact in your life?
Which was GT.
Yeah, it was
AKA Jacob, as we call him JT.
Becoming a single parent at 22 years old, 23 years old.
Which is how I want to say, before you continue with this, the amount of times you've pressured me to have children, and I keep telling you no. I don't know. Okay?
Not yet.
You've already got 3 beautiful grandchildren. It's
Kurt,
Roxy,
Roxy,
and now Nova.
I don't want you to have kids yet. I want to have grandkids, though.
No, yeah. So
because I'm going to be like that.
Talk to Aiden.
I'm going to
He's
be
12,
like
by the way.
the best grandfather. The kid, when they've already got dirt bikes.
There's a very big difference between saying you don't want kids and then your actions speaking louder than words. Because you keep saying, "Oh, I can't wait to have grandkids," but you've never once said to me, "Don't have kids yet."
Don't have kids yet.
Okay, thank you. So you've never said that before. You've never said those words.
No,
so Grace is always like, "I don't want to have kids yet." I'm like, "Yeah, me either." Like I don't even know if I want to have kids in general. So it's like. Yeah,
I want you to have kids before the rest of your brothers do.
Why? Let them fuck up first, and let me have great grandkids.
I want you guys to be happy and make a decision, and eventually give me a granddaughter. And I have a grandson.
Like we don't have a very good.
I need a granddaughter.
We don't have a very good track record when it comes to female spawn.
Well, that's true.
The only female that is fully biological in our family is my aunt. Oh, and Brittany, but that's not depicted on our side, her side. So by blood, we've only had one female in the past 3 generations. We thought about that too, but Because my thing is, I don't want to have kids until I'm like late 20s, early 30s.
When you have kids,
And
I'll be
Grace-
the best grandfather.
And Grace has talked about how, like me, I told Grace, I was like, you got till I'm 26, and the Army's paying for me to get clipped. And
Do you
it's
realize
happening.
how much shit I bought for your brother and so forth? I said it's for my grandkids.
Yeah, does he even have? He doesn't have kids, right? That we know of, I would guess.
Talking about JJ?
Yeah,
I'm
that we
supposed
know
to
of.
have like 25 grandkids.
True. Yeah. Well, that's also
Yeah.
he's
I-
again JT Jacob not in the right
He's-
mindset in his head. So
He's
people
got
tend
pervasive development disorder, and he's in jail right now because he doesn't make good decisions, and he's
people
it's a
use him a
social
lot
event
as
for
well.
him.
People use him a lot as well, and they'll say, "Hey, I have your kid. We haven't had sex yet, but
You're the
it's
daddy."
in me."
And
And
then I'm a
he
grandfather.
just goes, "Oh, okay."
let's tell my
and-
dad.
Yeah, and then he tells his dad, and then they get money out of him. Pretty much is what happens.
They try
And-
really hard. They
yeah.
come in like,
And then
hey, oh
he's-
yeah, Jacob sent me pictures of you and stuff. And by the way, we had sex yesterday, and I have this baby.
It's
in
a
me.
baby now. Yesterday,
Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, that's the answer to my questions. What's the next question on Twitter?
I think that was it. I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything. I think it was just 3. Yeah. They were just talking about a trove of stories when it comes to my childhood.
Do you want to hear an interesting story?
Sure.
You remember the story when I told you when I was younger they get bit by a turtle? By a turtle?
By a twiddle.
Turtle.
I like turtles. No. The snapping turtle in Swains
Snapping
Lake?
turtle. Yeah, remember that? It wasn't Swains, behind the dam.
No.
You want to see me something interesting?
Sure.
So anyway,
Did you go back and kill it and take its skull? Did you remember, like, is it
Do-
like
do you-
kind of like
do you
the
know-
alligator from Happy Madison where he's like, oh, I know that alligator. It took my arm. Or, like, was it his hand? I think it was
Yeah.
his arm. Anyways, did you...
kind of like
what,
that.
What are you gonna
So
show
anyway,
me?
I'm going to tell you because we're doing this, and you can chop
You're
it
like
out whatever.
reaching for something. What is it?
When you know that I went to New England, I took
Yeah.
a motorcycle up when we traveled through the Appalachians this past
Mhm.
July, and it
Yeah.
went at Slingshots and took your grandfather Bampy
Mhm.
and Nana Dawn up to the mountains, up to the top of Mount Washington.
Yeah.
And during that trip, we learned that my grandfather actually erected the last time Bamp had been to the top of Mount Washington was in 1954
Mhm.
when he was 14 years old, and he was helping my grandfather.
I just did the math.
A
Banff
wreck.
was like 27? 27 when he had you, though.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
27. That's
Yes.
crazy. It's late in
He
life.
was 26. It was right. It was a few weeks
Yeah.
before his birthday.
Anyways,
So
continue.
point being this is that we went to up to Mount Washington and I had said I'm going to take Angela to the White Mountains, and he said, "Oh, that would be fun." I said, "Why? You want to get a ride in the back of my motorcycle up to the White Mountains?" He said, "Oh, that'd be fun."
that's a heavy load.
Okay.
I love you, Bamp. If you're watching, I love you.
Hey, he's 250 pounds.
Yeah, anyways.
So anyway,
He's lost weight.
so I said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it because I love you." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking. I love my father.
Absolutely. Your calves
So
are
then I
gonna be
said,
on
and I
fire,
said,
but
well, I'm
yeah.
going to probably take the kids to up Mount Washington. He said, oh, I haven't been there since 1952. And when I was 12 years old, I helped your grandfather erect the structural steel, the tower on top of Mount Washington, which
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know what? I'm going to take you to top of Mount Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Later found out there was 54 because he was 14 years old. And the last time your grandfather had been to the top of Mount Washington was in the back of an Army ambulance van
Mm-hmm.
as my grandfather was taking sections of steel to erect to build the.
Oh, they
The
had like
tower.
an old, like a.
It was dirt road at the top.
I'm
of
talking
Mount
about you're talking
Washington.
about the Army ambulance van, like
Yeah.
an old school one that they just like had or whatever.
Yeah, they had, and he got the contract to build the steel
That's nuts.
structure by hand on
Yeah.
the top of Mount Washington,
Mm-hmm.
which holds the world record for the highest wind speed and the coldest temperature on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Which I didn't know. Which is well. Anyway, while I was on that trip, and your grandfather was passing down some very nice things to me
Mm-hmm.
because he said, "Hey, well, right here, I'm going to go ahead and give you this, and this."
Yeah, he's like, hey, just so you know, these things I never told you your entire life,
So-
but they're pretty cool.
There's two things I want to show you, and one of them is something that you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, this is the tank shell chalice.
So this right here, what is this right here?
Well, that is I'd say 60 mil? 70 mil?
75?
75 mil
75
shell?
millimeter, yeah, 75 millimeter.
Tank
75
shell.
millimeter
It's tank shell.
tank shell.
Yeah, squished
Well,
in, made into a chalice.
When I was growing up,
Mm-hmm.
this sat on my father's table, desk, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
his pile of shit that he always had in there.
Which he still has. But
Okay.
now it's more of an organized
well,
pile
no,
of
it's
shit.
just it's
It's kinda like
file by,
a-
it's file by pile. It's filed.
It's
by
kind of
file.
like a house and yard
yeah,
and
well,
container and attic.
So anyway, the point is this: is I was sitting out at the table with Angela and the kids in July, and my father brings this out to me. He says, "Hey, do you recognize this?" I said, "Of course I do."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Do you understand what that is?" And I said, "No." He said, "Read it." He said, "Downing."
Was this
Oh,
Downing?
he says,
Yeah.
"He's G.I. Downing, George Downing." George Downing was my great grandfather.
Mhm.
Great grandfather.
Yeah.
He said that
We have a very weird bloodline, by the way. We're related to some priest named William Brewster on the Santa Maria, as well, which makes us technically sons of the Mayflower.
so George Downing
Which is
during the
part of
First
this.
World War
Mm-hmm.
was captain of this merchant marine boat or whatever called the
Mhm.
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Well,
Heard
the
of the
Bordeaux
Bordeaux.
got sanctioned or whatever by the Navy
Mm-hmm.
to become a ship to hold prisoners of war.
Yeah.
During the First World War. This was made by my George Downing, who's my great grandfather, whatever. It was actually made by one of his prisoners as he was the captain of
It's
the
like,
Bordeaux.
You gave me one less beating than everybody else every day. Thank you.
And he
That's awesome.
he handmade this from a shell from the war
Mm-hmm.
as a gift to my great grandfather as the way he was treated as a POW on his ship.
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that? It's badass.
No, that's pretty awesome.
Okay,
And it's
now,
also
I just
awesome
want to
that he
remind you of one more thing. Okay, one
Yeah.
more thing.
Oh God, here we go. Talk about the 30mm shells. Yeah.
Today you were giving me shit because I have two of these.
Yeah, and I gave them both to you.
And just remember, one day I'm going to give you this.
Yes, but I also want one of those because I don't work on
You-
Apaches
you,
anymore.
You can have one of those, but
Yeah.
look at this. Take a look at it.
No,
Take it.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
I know, but you didn't know what it was.
No, but I did. Because Bamp explained it to me.
Now, if you look at it, and I don't know if you can pronounce the guy's name, but the guy actually signed it and so forth as POW on the Bordeaux of
Yes,
your,
as prisoner of
your
war.
great grandfather's.
Was that Gervaux?
Something like that, yeah. Whoever he was actually the POW on the Bordeaux. My great grandfather and your great whatever.
We have a lot of greats in our family.
Yeah, I know. Well, we go way back to the Mayflower.
Yeah, we're and it's funny because that's only half the family. The other half,
I
of
don't
the
give
family,
a shit. That's fucking badass.
No, of course, but I think it's funny that half of my blood is like, yeah, we know who's in our life. I have no idea who's on the other side of my family. I really do want to do one of those because I refuse to talk to my
23
mother.
and me.
Yeah, I want to do one of those because I refuse.
Well, I did find your grandmother.
Yeah, I know, and she messaged me, but again, I've
You're private.
again for those of you
You're
guys who
private.
don't know, I've got a very weird growing up story besides just his ex-wife. My mother left when I was two and a half.
Just to get
And this is after deciding to change. Or is this before?
over 20 years ago. You haven't seen her since.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in 21 years now. And I have no idea what's on my side of the family because she was actually adopted. So we
Yes.
don't really know for sure. I guess we could go by birth certificates and things, but
Oh, I know now because I met her.
yeah, where my side of the family's from. So half of my life has always been kind of a mystery to me. So
And you got two brothers
fact.
named Logan.
yeah, I actually got in contact with a brother of mine that I've never met named Zach. So yeah, interesting. He's always like, "Hey, who's our mom?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know," because
Yeah, whatever.
yeah,
We won't say
so
that.
yeah. Anyways, it's funny that you talk about the tank shell because those are, if you want to show those again to the camera, those are 30mm shells from an AH-64 Delta Apache Longo attack helicopter,
Yes.
which is what I work on in the Army, or at least I used to. I don't really do it now, but technically I still do. That
They
makes
are
sense.
gifts to me.
One of those is for my grandfather, but he has not given it to him. Because I gave you two when you left. Because I remember running to the barracks when I didn't live in the
I
barracks.
think
to
your
grab
friend
them.
gave me one.
What's that?
I think another one of your friends gave me one or something.
No,
like
you
that,
haven't
too.
met any of my Apache friends. No, unless I've got a twin. But do I have another twin that I don't know about? Anyways,
no. So
It
you want
wouldn't surprise me. To be honest.
I'm gonna give one
Can
more
we talk
story.
about that? I've got 8 siblings, 9 siblings if you count Shelby. Or no, it'd be 8 because I'm the 9th.
So you want to hear
And
another
I've
story?
got 3 children that are all of a different species.
I'm gonna give you one more story.
Okay, can I get I'm gonna grab another beer real quick. So
You better hurry up.
We can edit this out, so it's okay. It's a podcast. You
Get
can-
me one while you're at it.
Okay, which one do you want? The Hefe, not the Hefe?
I want the Hefe Weissbier.
Weiss beer. It's
Weissbier.
Weiss beer. Hefe, yeah, Hefe Weiss beer. Okay, I'll be right back.
It's Hurry Weissbier.
Yes.
All right. So you know I hate snapping turtles.
Yeah.
I've always hated snapping turtles.
Yeah, especially trying to swim out of the island, and in Swains Lake, there's like a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
But
What do I do to snapping turtles if I can?
run them over.
And just kill them, right? Just
Yeah.
fucking kill them.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I think they're the one dinosaur that should never have made it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's like alligator snapping turtle or just a regular snapping turtle?
Regular snapping turtle. I mean, when I was a kid, that there's a story that I was actually fishing down off of the backside of the dam at Swains Lake, and I had
Batteries are getting low in the cameras.
as I was fishing, my hook got hooked in a little stick, and as I reached in, when I reached into the water to get my hook out of this little stick that was hooked on, I had a snapping turtle grab my hand, and as I pulled it out of the water, it actually came off and peeled the skin back on my hand like it would a banana. But I got a hold of it, and the when you're fishing, you got this thing. It's a leader or whatever. Where that's not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, where you hook the fish onto it and the stringer basically. I actually took the stringer and I tied it off on the tail side of this turtle. And when I did, I tied it to a tree, and I was bleeding. And when I went up to the neighbor's house by this back pond down the river from the dam on Swains Lake, and told them they need to call my parents. My parents came to get me. I think it was my father in the Volkswagen Scirocco, and he grabbed this turtle. It was pretty big, and he actually took it and flipped it upside down, put it in the trunk of the Volkswagen Scirocco. I think it was a '75 Volkswagen Scirocco at the time, and went back to my house and they wrapped me up and got me healed and so forth and got it, so forth. My parents weren't real big on going to the hospital. It was duct tape and paper towels and Band-Aids and shit.
That's how we grew up too, though.
Yeah, it's a good way to grow up, and just basically shut the fuck up and
It gives you a lot of
stop
scars.
crying.
I've got so many goddamn scars because we didn't go to a hospital, though. I do want to say that.
Yeah, it's true. It's okay though. You learn from it though. You don't. It's a good way to grow up. So anyway, I told my father's like, "Why do you want to take the turtle?" I said, "Because I want to kill it." He probably should have known I was going to the Marine Corps at that point, but it didn't really matter. So he put it in the back of the Scirocco, takes me back to the house, gets me bandaged up and so forth. My father brings me out in the yard. We had this weeping willow tree that we planted when I was younger, and he took the turtle and it was on the stringer, and he tied it to the weeping willow tree. He brings me out in the yard with a .357 Magnum. He's like, "Okay, kill it."
Mm-hmm.
So I go out in the yard and basically I'm out in the yard, bang, crying, bang,
What, you're
crying.
pulling because your hand is
Because my hand's all fucked up and so forth. But I emptied that .357 Magnum in that turtle, and
Is that why you put the pistol next to you? Like,
see how
3 hours ago?
strategically
like
placed
3
that
hours
was?
ago, you put
This
1911
beautiful 1911 38
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is this: anyway, so I shot it, and to me that was the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And but my dad, he's like, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and keep this shell."
Yeah, because he keeps everything.
My father does keep everything.
Yeah.
Too much, but at the same time, I give him credit because sometimes 29, 30, 40, 50
Well,
years
it's like
later,
Britney's
he finds a
bicycle.
piece of copper that he had to pay for. The point is
But
this.
it's also
so-
like Brittany's bicycle that's probably still chained to that tree in his yard. It's been there for probably around 15 years now.
Yeah, it's okay. But
It's hilarious.
it's,
Or the
Sentimental-
staircase that he
that-
pulled out of
that staircase is fucking badass.
No, it is. My
Okay,
dad
I
made
got-
a
I actually-
staircase for his mom's house.
I built it in her
forever
house,
ago.
and she wanted to throw it. And my father came and got it. Her ex-husband went and got it. Now it's still in his backyard, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Anyway,
Also, another small tidbit. My dad's parents are also divorced, so it kind of makes
surprise.
some sense. Anyways,
So anyway, so story is supposed to end with I killed the turtle and my father says suck it up and so forth. I blow some rounds and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out that my dad, Bamp, who's fucking awesome, he took the shell and he brought it over and he set it somewhere thinking the ants and maggots would eat all the meat off the shell and so forth. And he had this snapping turtle shell. Now, keep in mind, to me, that turtle was like this big.
Yeah,
because I was like
it's
this
got to be
big.
like this big, right?
Yeah. Well, you think, okay. And I was always, for years, like, it was fucking huge. The story was always, oh my God, you should have seen how big this turtle was. And everybody like, yeah, whatever. It's probably like this big. Whatever. Like you were saying. Okay. It's probably tiny. It's probably like it bit my pinky. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway, so
but apparently it ripped all the
in
ripped all
July
the skin off your hand though. But
so in July,
you're good.
The
Just don't pull on your cord.
In July, I was up there and I was going through some different boxes and so forth and getting stuff for cleaning weapons and whatever and so forth. My dad, he's kind of doing a little bit of house cleaning, giving me some things to bring back to Florida, and I came across this box. Okay, so it's one thing to say, yeah, the turtles. It's this big. How big was the turtle? How big? Is it big?
Now that I see the box, I don't know.
That's fucking big, right? Well, so come to find out, I open this box up, okay, and I'm like, my father's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's a turtle. That's the skull of the turtle.
That's not too bad.
It was fucking huge, dude. Listen,
that's pretty big.
Put your fucking fingers in the mouth of that thing. Okay, my father did. You know what?
That's a skull. Yeah,
that's huge. I was the size of Aiden.
I would say that's a normal size.
It was this fucking big.
Yeah, that's a normal.
It was big.
That's a normal size snapping.
My hands were the size of a little tiny boy.
I mean, that's.
Put your fingers in its mouth.
I get it.
That's a big ass fucking turtle for a 12-year-old to get bit.
No, absolutely.
Okay? So anyway, my father's like, I open the box. And, oh my God, my father's like, Bamp's like, that's a turtle. That's a turtle. He says the fucking maggots. He says, there's actually no bones in the shell, but there is in the skull. He says the shell was made of.
It's like a fleshy material.
It's
almost.
whatever.
Yeah.
So they ate the shell and left. The only thing left from that turtle was that skull.
Yeah.
My father, 40+ years later, had that shell in an ammo box or a friggin' expansion bolt box.
Yeah, well, that's.
It was supposed to be.
But it's the right size, though.
But look how big that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You got to admit, that's a scary ass motherfucker.
That's a considerable.
That's scary. Okay?
I mean, if I saw it on the ground, I'd be like, "Oh, don't touch my toes." But if I had a gun, I wouldn't care.
yeah. Well, it also shows that I never hit him in the head.
Yeah,
I shot the shit out of his shell.
Well, that's because it's a bigger target.
But you imagine that shell.
Well, I mean, now aren't you glad you didn't hit him in the head?
Yeah, but look at that. That's pretty cool that Mike Bamp
Well, I also know
saves everything
in relation to how big their heads are, though, to their shell. I feel
the shell's all this big.
It's got to be like this.
It's the size. It's way bigger than that.
But their heads are huge, though.
Not snapping.
Anyways, snapping turtle. We get the point.
Anyways,
big snapping
this
turtle.
proves that Bamp saves things.
Yeah.
And it proves that the story was bigger than the one you thought it was because you would just point out
but you were also saying that you were hinting at the fact that it was smaller, so it's misleading. So that's on you.
It's big though.
Yeah, it's
scary.
size.
That's scary big.
Yeah.
If you were Aiden at 12 years old,
if I was Aiden, I wouldn't be outside.
Not with that guy.
I mean, in general, but yeah.
Fucking, that's a shark.
That's a big boy. Yeah,
that's a big boy. So anyway, now I have the head of the.
I've seen a turtle bigger than that, though.
You certainly have, but that's fucking huge to get bit when you're 12.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
just say, Dad,
okay,
that's a big ass fucking turtle.
That's a big. Dad,
I had no idea how big that turtle was that bit you.
I have no idea how big. Anyways, why are we boosting your ego? Anyway, okay, big turtle, small hands. You shot it. We get it.
Small hands don't go there.
Okay, well. That's the other thing is you didn't have small hands for someone your size.
I did have big hands for
Marco isn't. I don't listen to Marco Rubio, so I don't know.
You don't know that whole story.
No.
Never mind.
Did he fuck a turtle?
No.
Is that
no? He had apparently little hands.
Oh, I mean, we could all say somebody else that you have multiple signs up has small hands. Anyways,
like who?
I don't know.
Not me.
Our president. Our president apparently has small hands. So.
That's an
I mean,
anyway.
he has.
I haven't seen Joe Biden's hands.
Joe Biden's not our president yet.
Elect.
Anyways.
You see how small his hands are when he touches little kids?
Okay, anyways, can we move on from this? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Conservative points of view. Anyways, I think that's good enough. I think we'll call it there.
I think we did it.
For our
We had some good stories. And,
10 minutes. Hey,
love you.
I want to say.
I love you. I'm proud of you.
I love you too. I didn't get COVID this whole week. I've lived in a house with two.
That's because you had it before.
We don't know that.
You've got antibodies.
We've had
They're
two.
really little, but you got them.
2, possibly 3 people that have had COVID in this house. And I've been here for a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks. I've not got COVID. So
My garage
wear a
isn't
mask and stuff. Be safe out there. Just don't touch people. And don't touch things people have touched if they've got COVID, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, that's the end of the podcast that
I think there's one thing you
neglected
should
again.
do, though. I think that you should plan on doing a podcast on March 20th. Or
Like
going
when we
live
get
on
back?
when we have the wedding.
Well, yeah,
Or
we
the
don't
week
have
of
to
the
do it like the wedding day.
Yeah.
We can do it the day before or the day after or whatever. But the day before, you guys are both going to be full of anxiety and stuff. So making sure everything goes okay. So
You get to be my best man.
I would say, I know. Well, maybe we'll do a video. I'll do a video about that or do a vlog or something that week. We'll figure it out. But
We should shoot guns in that one.
shoot guns in the video.
Yeah, but why don't we do it? We'll do it outside.
What are we going to shoot? Or
We have AR-10s. We got 300
Well, I
blackouts, 300
understand- I
blackouts.
understand.
We got 12. I mean, what are you going to shoot? Targets or
I'm saying, like,
sizes?
what are you going to shoot?
Targets?
You're shooting a weapon at something.
Yes.
Therefore, what you are shooting is the target. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be shooting targets.
All right. Yeah, we can shoot guns.
Yeah, we can have fun. That'll be fun. We have all kinds of great stuff that we can do.
Anyways, my dad wants to say that he has lots of guns. That was the point of that whole thing.
No, what I said is we'd have fun.
Anyways, this is
shooting.
my dad. Anyways, my dad does not own any weapons as far as the government's concerned. No, I'm just kidding.
They
I
fell
don't
out
know.
of a boat 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. They're not buried in the backyard in PVC pipe. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching or listening or whatever you were doing. Dad, you want to say bye?
Hey,
to the podcast.
to everyone, this has been a blast.
To
Merry
whoever-
Christmas.
to whoever's listening.
Happy New Year, and
happy holidays if you celebrate Kwanzaa or whatever.
share it.
It's after, I guess Kwanzaa now because it's after Christmas, so it'd be Kwanzaa. Happy New Year in a few days. Hope you guys start off 2021 right. As much as everybody wants to believe it's going to be a great year, it's going to be probably just as shit or worse year as 2020, but we'll get through it together, I think. So, yeah, that's it.
hey, you didn't tell everybody you got an 8-track collection for Christmas.
I did. Well, that wasn't necessarily for Christmas. I found it in your garage, and you were like, "Oh yeah, that."
That's a Christmas present.
Well, this isn't necessarily the 8-track. I mean, it's called Twisted Tapes. I found like 30 cassette tapes in your garage, and you were like, "Yeah, those are for you."
I've
But
been saving them forever.
They were just sitting in your garage underneath piles of shit. We talk about how bad my grandfather is at collecting stuff, but you are getting close. You are going down that slope. I understand the scale is different, but you're going that way. And the reason I know you're going that
Goodbye,
way
everybody.
is because
Goodbye, everybody.
Not only does my grandfather
Don't
have,
listen to him, everybody.
my grandfather has one Connex container in his yard. All right, yes, I just muted you. my grandfather has one Connex container in his yard. My dad has 2. That's how I know. That's how I know he's going to be worse. Anyways, yeah, if you guys want us to do a follow-up podcast, we can do that later. Until then, I think that's it. You know anything else you want to say?
No, this has been fun.
Okay, so we'll see you guys.
2021, everybody.
I'm going to say next week, even though we both know it's been once a month at this point.
He's
and
a fucking slacker.
Yep. See
Gets
you
it
then.
Gets it from his mother.
Oof, that's rough. Okay. Anyways, all right, guys. We'll see you later. You can end the.